Hello everybody, welcome back to Robot Attack. My name is Beskar Snake, and how are you? We're here again with Smoking Ace, or Beskar Snake. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Just, living life.
Dang it! I was gonna say, like, something different instead of how are you? and then I dropped the ball still.
Everybody check your bingo cards.
Alright. Dang. I was right. How's the weather? Like, I don't know, something random where you weren't prepared and say something different for once. If you're here new, hi. We're on Spotify. You should check us out. Anyways, on Robot Tech. Every month, me and Beskar Snake here talk about video games. We talk about topics related to video games. We run out of ideas, and most of the months we wing it. And this is one of those months. So welcome in. So today.
To be fair, we have brought this topic up before, so we're like mildly winging it. Well, I think it's ran through.
I'm sure
the idea mill, or one of us has said. I'm sure at some point in the time that we've done this, one of us has said, "Hey, there's a movie about that or something."
Right.
So
spoilers. Spoilers. It's not like they could check the video of what it's called. So each month we pick a gaming topic. We talk about games that we played last month, and also maybe upcoming games. Snort? Yes, snorting.
Don't snort games.
Please do not.
It's dangerous.
Yes, you'll go to jail. So, real quick, what games have you played last month? Metal Gear Solid. Yes, I know.
All right. Yep. Nope. You covered it. Now, I did play a little bit of Metal Gear Solid 3, of course. I finally beat Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. That game is absolutely incredible. If you enjoy RPGs, turn-based RPGs, if you played the original Paper Mario, I highly recommend checking it out. It's really good. There's actually a game, and of course I didn't think of this while I was looking at, but there's a game coming out. It's going to launch on Kickstarter sometime soon. That's along the same vein as Paper Mario, kind of the same art style. They even say that they've drawn heavy inspiration from Paper Mario. So I'm pretty excited about that one. I also have been playing some Madden since we're getting back into football season. That's starting very soon.
That's the new one? The new Madden?
No. I have a hard time. I'm still going to buy it at some point, I'm sure. But I have a hard time buying it every year. Usually what the past couple of years, me and a friend have been either splitting the cost, or we've been alternating buying it because we play it together. But
wait, hold on. You have friends? This is new to me.
I mean, I have one controller in this hand, one controller in that hand. So, it's way to break the illusion. Thanks, Scouter.
Sorry.
But no. So I have not played the newest one yet. But yeah, I mean, it's Madden. I'm really excited about talking about upcoming games now. We don't have really any information on it, but with some of the new regulations and everything they've done with college football, they are going to, supposedly they've announced it, but they're going to be bringing back the NCAA football games.
I'm excited now.
Those are, oh man.
I don't know why they don't just slap it into both. NHL does that. I get it, more money. But
well, what do you mean slapping into both?
Well,
what do you mean by
NHL 20 whatever? They do. You could pick different leagues: NHL, AHL, and they don't have college yet, which is a shame.
Well, you know the biggest reason for that, right?
Probably they have different copyrights, maybe.
It's so essentially, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not pretending that I know everything of what I'm talking about in legalese, but it's because the games, you're using the likenesses of college players, and they're not paying for that likeness. So they could, the universities are getting money for it, but the players themselves don't get any money, and they weren't allowed to get money until recently.
No, I could see the names being wrong, because obviously that changes more than the NHL stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like the people that play during the start of the season. That's as all good as you're gonna get, because there've been, I feel like every year it's a change of.
Oh yeah, I mean, in a college setting, at least for football, and I'm assuming it's the same for hockey and same for baseball. The most you're going to be able to get out of a player is 5 years,
right?
And so every 4 to 5 years, you have essentially a completely new team. Yeah, it's not you wipe every, because obviously you have freshmen, sophomore, junior, people progressing, but yeah, essentially there's always that turnover. Whereas in the professionals, you have that same quarterback for a long time, unless you're the Browns, which, well, hey, you know what? We made it to the playoffs. We'll see what happens this year. Who knows? But, you have that same goalie, or you have that same point guard, or you have, professional, obviously, you tend to play a lot longer than in college. So yeah, I don't know how the licensing is for college hockey and everything. I'm actually not even entirely certain if just the players' likenesses for football have been allowed, or if it's all athletics within colleges. So, were there? I never remember seeing any college hockey games, or I think there were college.
No.
There were definitely college basketball games.
There was college football games, because I remember only one on I think GameCube.
Oh, NCAA 14 is still better than any modern day Madden. That's just
I enjoyed
just
it,
a
actually.
fact.
I played. I probably still have it.
They're so good. It's good.
Yeah.
So I am really excited for that to make its comeback whenever it does. I'm sure they're still figuring things out.
I might pick it up, honestly.
Maybe we'll have to have some little extra life challenges there or something.
Yeah. So the games I played last month is To the Rescue. It's a very dog adoption game. It's very adorable, but it's very broken. it's so broken. I'm very disappointed. It could be a pretty good game if it wasn't broken. I mean, I'm sure it's. I don't know. I paid. It was on sale, not too much, but I don't know. I'm sure the developers are gonna be working on it. I just felt. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it is a release game, and it's basically, which makes sense, if you unleash your dog, they kind of like run around, but I feel like sometimes it's hard to put them back on a leash, which I get it. I guess that's part of a dog. But I don't know. It's just kind of broken. Like sometimes my dog would glitch outside the game, and there's no way I could get him.
Are you sure you weren't playing Harry Potter and you just had a magic dog?
Yeah, is very frustrating. So been playing that, Fortnite, of course. I'm excited about a new game. I posted it today. That I don't know. You might be interested, but Atomic Heart. It's a very cyberpunk. It's like Fallout 4 mixed with iRobot mixed with BioShock, and it looks great.
Oh, there's BioShock in it?
It's kind of BioShocky, where you can freeze people while you're slashing.
Oh, yeah. I do remember seeing this. It looks like it could be really good.
It's going to be soul text heavy on your computer. It's going to be great, but so maybe I'll pick it up on PS4 first. But it is going to be on PS4 and of course the new gen systems. But
I forgot about this.
I didn't even. My friend texted me it this morning. I'm like, oh my god!
Oh, I believe it was just announced recently, so it's not like it's been around for.
It's not going to be. It's a Q4 of next year. So I assume probably the fall or winter of next year. But I mean, I'm kind of how do I say this? I'm kind of nervous about that release date. I just feel like it's gonna be probably delayed. It just seems like very tax heavy.
Now, this is Wikipedia really quick, but Wikipedia, which again, take it as you will.
Right.
It says Q4 of this year, and I don't foresee that happening.
No, it would have been. Yeah, I assume. Yeah, you're right, because it said 2022 in the last trailer. So, I just probably clearly delay. Like, they don't have a release date at this point in time. So I'm assuming it's going to be next year sometime, which is fine. I'll definitely, wait around again to actually see it, and I'll probably still end up picking it up. Let's not lie here, but I'm excited. I'll play caution. We'll see. It's very cyberpunky, and as you know, it's broken when it was released. I don't know. I mean, I'll definitely be careful. Buying it full price. So besides that, nothing really too exciting. That's about it. So
really quick, I just wanted to point out the Paper Mario kind of clone is called Flint Buckler Wakes the Sleepy Castle. So I highly recommend checking that. It looks the animation is great. It looks, you can definitely see the influence from Paper Mario and kind of some other games along those lines. It looks really fun. So that's nice. coming to Switch. The Kickstarter is releasing this fall. So just something to keep an eye on.
For sure. But yeah, I just wish that game would have been. I wish To the Rescue would have been good. I told him about him because I was playing with her. I was like, I wish this game wasn't broken because it seemed like it would be a fun, cute, adorable game.
No.
And a lot of stuff is coming to the Switch now, which is kind of good. I think maybe because now the Switch has competition with Steam.
Oh my god!
And now it's
like
Steam Deck.
I need it.
Yeah, let's put you guys on board because Bear and Breakfast just announced on there, and a lot of indie games. Pretty excited about that. I think Unpacking, but stuff like that, and I'm pretty stoked. I just like the Stanley Parable Ultimate Deluxe. I'm just like, yes, I want to play Stanley Parable on the go. Stuff like that, but. Anyways, so let's get real quick to the topic at hand.
The nitty-gritty.
Beskar Snake spoiled it.
Hey, I just mentioned a random thing.
We're going to talk about movies real quick. There's not a lot of video game movies, and I think we could touch a little bit about it. Unfortunately, I think with video game and movies, I think... Yes.
Expected like a ninja or something to jump down.
She was just like looking like, yes. Anyways, so maybe we could talk about. So a lot of movie franchises for video games are not as successful. Of course, we have. I think Ready Player 1 is probably up there with one of the best. I feel like if you were to do a video game movie, it has to not be based on a certain particular type of video game. Like WreckIt Ralph is another good one.
That movie is fantastic.
Yeah,
it is so well done.
Yeah, so I guess we could talk real quick. So maybe quickly, what movies do you like in terms of video games?
So one of the biggest things with video game movies is it's like anything. It's the age-old debate of, is the book better or the movie better? You have completely different mediums. And actually, it's kind of funny because I didn't think I was going to talk about this, much to your chagrin. But years ago, when playing Metal Gear Solid 2 with a couple of my friends, we had talked about, like, oh, they should make a movie of this. This would make a great movie. And one thing that my friend brought up was, he's like, it would make a terrible movie because most of the fun is when you trigger an alert and you have to try to fight all these guards. You can't just have a 2-hour movie of, of just fighting guards in this one room. It just, you could do it, but you couldn't call it Metal Gear. You couldn't call it Metal Gear Solid. You couldn't call it Metal Gear. You couldn't call it Metal Gear Rising. You couldn't call it any of these things associated with it. It could be a fun, just crazy action movie, but you couldn't slap the Metal Gear name on it. So when talking about video game movies, you've really got to put them in their own sort of compartment, really.
Right.
Because again, in a video game, you can have a 100+ hour video game. Persona 5, one of the best video games I've ever played, but it took me 120 hours to beat. And that wasn't even doing a fraction of what you can do in that game. One of my coworkers, I know he has the platinum trophy in Persona 5, and he plays it once again every year. I don't know how many hours he has total in it, but I'm sure it's a lot. Right. For anybody who's played an RPG, it's a lot. And yeah, there are some games out there that they're 4-hour games, they're 2-hour games, they're shorter, even a 10-hour game. But still, to take a 10-hour game and try to compress it down into a 2-hour movie, a 2.5, even a 3-hour movie, is very difficult because you're when you're taking the control out of the player's hands. So, with all that being said, there are some video game movies that I do really like. They're not great, but I love Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I love those movies. They are so much just stupid fun. Do they tie in with the games? Absolutely. And the new Mortal Kombat that they made, just 2 years ago, I think it was?
Yeah,
22, 20 or 21, somewhere in there. 21, April of last year. That one was fun. It had an interesting story. It still kept that sort of feel of Mortal Kombat where it was over the top a little bit, but still grounded.
Still need to watch it. It actually looked... I never played any Mortal Kombat. I mean, obviously the arcade, but...
Yeah. No, if you thought it looked interesting, I recommend checking it out. It's fun. The characters are good. Some of the characters, if you've played the games and you kind of know some of the personality of some of the characters, or their personalities from the original movies, in a way, it just makes it that much more fun because they have some little cheeky jokes in there. Of course, the Super Mario Brothers movie. I haven't watched that movie in forever. I need to I should have rewatched it again before coming to this podcast, but I didn't get around to it.
It's a classic. I feel like that is like a classic kind of, like, if you were born in the 80s, like, that would be a good film. And I mean, I take it with a grain of salt still. And I try to take movies as a grain of salt with, before my time. Like Alfred Hitchcock, as I mentioned, like, if that movie was released, if those movies were released today, they'll still be good because they're just like Birds, for example. Like that stuff is like ground, like, I feel like looks good. They look like legit birds. They look real, I guess, and like comparison with Jurassic Park, like the old Jurassic Parks, the dinosaurs look amazing, and then now we're ramping up to modern technology of, I mean, they still had green screens and stuff back then, but
yeah,
I don't know, the monster, like I guess, looked more genuine lately. I mean, I don't know.
It one thing that my dad has always talked about in like video games and everything, whenever you computer generate things, I know with dinosaurs and stuff, we only have an idea of what they looked like, or a picture of what they look like in our head. But when you get down to people, we are so intimate with the human face. We know what a human face. We look at faces every day.
All the time.
I mean, right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're potentially looking at our faces. Yeah.
Or this cute dog.
or you're looking at a puppy face. You all right back there? But you know, the human face is so hard to recreate because we have so many muscles, and like I said, you're talking to people all the time. You're looking at them directly in the face. When it comes down to it, that's so difficult to recreate because we do know it so well, and it's so intricate. Right. So for that to translate into movies or even video games can be a little more difficult. So I think a lot of times that's what's so off-putting about video game movies to people is because you go, that doesn't look right.
Well, especially like for me, horror films and like monsters. I'm like, that's why I like what's his name? He made Pan's Labyrinth.
Del Toro.
Del Toro. Like his stuff is out of this world, and he has something coming up in Netflix the end of October, I think, or sometime soon, and I'm very excited about it. And on Netflix, and just his work is just he has usually people dressed up as monsters and does all this painting and makeup work, and it just like looks so genuine versus Alien, like an Alien film, CGI, like the movie Aliens. Yeah, they're still good movies. I was still like, wow, that looks like Alien, but like Del Toro putting like each in detail, and that's what I think you're getting to. It's just for me, I'm like, wow, like that's good, like because now, like obviously it looks not human, but it still like moves and you're recognizable, like you were saying. I like about his work. Anyways, go on. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I mean, how dare you have a discussion during this discussion?
Yeah, this podcast. How dare I? For me, I would say the movies I mentioned. Ready Player One was good. I have to say Resident Evil. I'm gonna just bring it to it. So like I mentioned this before in podcasts. I think when it comes to like Resident Evil, World of Warcraft movies, they're not as successful as regular movies because you're really lining it up to specific people.
Yes.
You don't like World of Warcraft, you don't like Resident Evil, so those movies don't contain to you.
Yeah.
So you're capturing an audience specifically, whereas like something like John Wick or something, everyone likes action, bad booty kicking villain. So everyone likes a good movie like that. So you're expanding to a bigger audience. So like movies like that, unfortunately, don't have the funding. I will say, all the Resident Evil films I've watched, I'd say the original Resident Evil were pretty good. I know there's a Netflix that just announced that they're no longer continuing the second season, which is it was okay overall. I'd say like I don't know. It just felt I don't know. It just felt a little off. I guess it was like weird innuendos in it that just like, oh, it's not like COVID or something. I'm like, they say this like 3 or 4 times throughout the series. I'm like, all right, like it was funny the first time, but I'm like, all right, come on, we're still in it. Like, move on. And like these references that are just obscure into the film. I'm like, come on, I need subtlety. I need horror. I mean, it was still pretty good, and I would say they made references to the video games that I recognize, but in terms of an overall movie, I'd say the like original Resident Evil, they made 7 of them with the actress, and those were pretty good. It kind of like set. I mean, they're good like overall. I mean, if you were to watch any of them, watch the first one, and you don't really need to watch the other ones, but because they kind of get, I don't know, boring. But overall they're pretty good. And then WreckIt Ralph is
it's so good. It's such a good
Ready
movie.
Player One was actually pretty good. Those movies in particular, as I mentioned, I think that's why they're so successful. Because like Ready Player One seems like a overall like if I just watched the trailer and I didn't like video games, I'd be like, I wouldn't, I'll try to watch that. Or WreckIt Ralph, yeah, it's a cute, funny kids movie. Of course, I'm gonna bring my family or bring my friends to watch it. Stuff like that. And making references to Aurora of video games, I guess, per se.
Oh yeah, the amount of little Easter eggs and stuff in Wreck-It Ralph is great. A perfect example, Ralph's walking through and he's eating the cherries from Pac-Man. He's going through the Lost and Found, and he finds the exclamation mark from Metal Gear Solid. That's the only reference in the movie, but it's little. If you don't know what it's from, okay, you don't get it, but it doesn't detract from the movie at all. But if you know what it is, or I know that the alert sound is used in a lot of YouTube videos, content creators, TikToks, things like that, and a lot of people I'm sure don't know where it's from. But if you're watching Wreck-It Ralph and you hear that, you go, hey, I know that sound. There's an image, there's a red exclamation point that's tied with it. Okay, I'm going to look into that, and then you can go down that rabbit hole. Kind of going along on your point of sort of tweaking the story in a way, adding things or taking things away. I can't remember which one it was, but one of the Hitman movies. The games are great. They're fun. They're
I
fun sandboxes and stuff.
I heard.
It's definitely not the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, but one thing that is kind of frustrating is they add a love story just because. And so
I need to watch
my wife will mention that I hate love stories in movies. I don't hate love stories in movies. Love stories are fine when they make sense. When they're just shoehorned in to fit a checklist of story topics you need, and it doesn't really make sense, that's when I don't like it.
We'll just make our own Hitman movie. That's what we do.
Deal.
I will say, it's funny, like, actually, sorry to swing off topic, but I showed you a Resident Evil like fan made thing, and it was actually pretty funny. Like, it was obviously kind of more joking and like trying to hit the comedic thing, and obviously it's on YouTube, and I was just like, yeah, I'll give it a whirl, like just watching, because I follow a lot of YouTube content creators for Resident Evil, and they posted it. I'm like, I'll give it a shot, and then they made a reference for Metal Gear. I'm like, all right, Beskar Snake would like this one too.
Yeah, I know it's. I'm getting into a different subject here of TV shows, but there is, they have a Fallout TV series coming out at some point, which is they cast Walter Goggins, and I'm beyond excited for that because he's awesome. But there was a I need to remember so I can give them the correct shout out. But there was a group on YouTube that made a series called Nuka Break. Let me double check this. Wayside Digital. So if you've never watched it and you've played the Fallout games, I very highly recommend searching Fallout Nuka Break by Wayside Digital on YouTube. It's a fan-made, fan studio kind of game. It is more well done than some big budget movies that I've seen recently. It's the costumes are great, the feel of the show is great, the characters are awesome, the makeup that they have, the props, the settings. It looks like you're watching a Fallout video game, someone playing a Fallout video game, from like a third person perspective. It's not done in first person, but it's so good. And it really gives me hope for what... See, I'm getting choked up about it.
It's so good, yeah.
It really gives me hope for what they could do with some video games in a movie sense or in a TV series sense. like I am excited for the Metal Gear Solid movie cautiously. I'm cautiously optimistic about it, but it could also really work as a television series, because you could do one episode is leading up to this boss, and then you have this boss fight in it, and then you have this, and then you have and a series can lend itself better, I think, to a video game than a lot of movies can, because you can do a 10-episode series where each episode is an hour long, and now instead of having just a 2-hour block or a 2.5-hour block, you can have a 10-hour block to encompass these, you know, the movie, or sorry, to encompass the more of the video game story. So, you know, I think video game movies definitely have their place. They're getting a lot more they're getting a lot more traction now, I think, because people are, you know, they already announced the Sonic 3 movie. Some of the other ones, you know, they're making this list of upcoming movies. I know. I actually haven't watched, but like Borderlands, that's a great game. Can you capture the fun, wacky, over the top, insane, you know,
That's
action
gonna be
of
hard.
Yeah, it's gonna be, I hope it's good. I hope they do it justice and they have a lot of fun with it, but it might not be. They're making a Portal film. They're making Pac-Man. They're making a Minecraft. Just Dance. I don't know how you're going to make a Just Dance movie. I mean, I know you have dancing movies, but how's it going to tie? It's like when they made the Battleship movie.
Right. Oh, I did see that one. That was terrible.
It was terrible. But
I thought it had potential because it had Liam Neeson in it.
Yeah. It just goes to show you that even a great actor can be in a very mediocre thing. The Uncharted movie, just watched that recently. That was actually pretty good.
I would say, yeah, that has a good concept, because you could just do...
I love the Uncharted movies. It's already Tomb Raider, you know, right. and it's definitely kind of Tomb Raider, James Bond, and the movie worked. It was fun. They had some cheeky references. They had a couple little jokes in there that if you've played the games, you get them. But if you haven't, you still understand the story. You still understand what's going on, and you can still have fun with it. But they did just enough that you go, yeah, this is Uncharted. This is a movie based off of this game, but it's not. I'm just sitting here watching a video game being played, if that makes sense.
Right. I will say, thanks for reminding me. So I remember, so if you as you know, your name is Smoking Ace 007. So Goldeneye, the campaign, and like, of course, you know, me being young, I played the video game first, and then I was like, wait, they have a movie, and just like watching the movie and seeing the campaign of the maps, I'm like, I know that level, I know that level, I know that level, I know, and it's just so well
Perfect
done.
example. It's so good.
You're welcome. And so I'll shoot this one to you. All right, I just thought of this question. So what do you think about, and you would probably, this is perfect to you. So what do you think about Star Wars, for example? They had the movies first, and I feel like, I mean, they had games, but I feel like, you know, most recently the video games have, for Star Wars, for example, have gone better. I would say. I mean, I don't know. You probably have a better reference than I do, but so like, how do you feel about a franchise from a movie to a video game like that?
It's funny that you bring that up, because the hang on, let me just double check. Okay, yeah. So talking about Goldeneye really fast, that was a movie first, and then they made the video game, so they could tailor the video game around the movie.
Know that, actually.
Yeah, I wanted to double.
Sorry, again, this was before my time, so
yeah, I just wanted to double check. But yeah, Goldeneye the movie released in '95, and then the game released in '97. So that's where you can show that, okay, they had a really good movie and they turned it into a video game, so they could make it as tied in as they could,
right,
and not the other way around. But as far as Star Wars, I think the best thing that Star Wars has done in regards to the movies versus the video games is a lot of times they're completely separate. Right. You know, you do have Super Star Wars, Super Empire Strikes Back, Super Return of the Jedi on the Super Nintendo that were based on the movies. Hands down, right. You walked through Tatooine, you walked through Hoth, you did this, you had you rode in a light speeder, you rode in this, you rode in that. There are some other games that are a little more tied in, but most of them are like the Lego games, the Lego Star Wars games. You're playing through the franchise. So again, they can be a little more cheeky, a little bit more tied in with that because you're kind of doing a unique spin on it, a creative twist on it. A lot of the Star Wars games I do like. I like them a lot. One of the games that I forgot to mention that I was playing is I've been playing a lot more of Star Wars The Old Republic. And that is, almost completely removed from the movies. From the movies. You don't, at least so far what I've played, you don't have Luke Skywalker. You don't have Darth Vader. You don't have a lot of these, I haven't run across Han Solo. And now they may be in there. I just haven't gotten to them yet. Or maybe they have little references here and there, just kind of a joke or something like that. So I don't know. I've only put like 30 some hours into it. And the game is massive. So there might be those references, but you're kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier. You're not comparing apples to apples. You're not taking, The Force Awakens and going, okay, well, now we have a Force Awakens video game. What matches up? What goes together? What just misses the mark? What lines back up? What did they change? Who did they make different? You have this divide between the two, and that I think helps establish it to be, okay, this game, like Jedi Fallen Order, that game is really fun, but it's its own story. Yes, there are, it's in the same universe, and there's lightsabers, there's the Force, there's stuff like that. Or even The Force Unleashed. You had Darth Vader. You had some of this stuff that you've seen, but it was still its own story, its own entity, where, yes, it had the Star Wars banner, and you recognize a lot of things from Star Wars, but it was its own thing, and they did a really good job with it, in my opinion. Correct, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't play any of the Star Wars, but I mentioned in, I think, the last podcast about the N64 game is pretty good. And I haven't watched a lick of Star Wars. It is very challenging. But, yeah, I could see... I would say, like, the Lego stuff is definitely... I have the Lego, I think, Hobbit or Lord of the Rings, and I still haven't got past the first part. Like, even get past the first challenge. Excuse me. But I know they're very good. And they're supposed to be silly. It's supposed to be kind of comedic.
They're not trying to do a one-to-one. They're doing a lot of it, but they're still doing part of the show, the movie, but just having, again, their own spin. And I think that's why I think making the Goldeneye. I like, for instance, I was thinking about this too. Like, think about it in perspective of Goldeneye, right? So who's watching those films? Not a 13-year-old kid. Like, it's going to be adults, like, above our age or older. I was.
Like, you're older than me. Like, watching the film, they're not going to probably pick up the video game. Like, oh, wow, it's on N64 now? Let's go. No. Like, I don't know. I guess risk and reward, and maybe, like, well, now, like, maybe that's a good tactic. Like, me playing it as a 13-year-old kid, 007 now, be like, wow, I like the film. I'm going to keep watching the new stuff, keep watching, getting into it. So, I think maybe it's a good movie tactic, too, of, hey, we got to get the kids, like, these teenagers involved into Star Wars,
Yeah.
007,
Oh, yeah.
and obviously still to this, I want to say still to this day, of still making Bond movies.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, I would love to, I feel like there's just so many Bond movies, I'll be lost into watching them all, but, like, you know, that actor in the movie was good. That movie overall was good. I mean, I still feel like I haven't finished the movie, but I mean, you know, they're overall like good movies. I mean, they do it for a reason. Make more money.
I mean, on that really quick, just as at least for me, kind of a last little thing, they actually just announced not too long ago they're making a new James Bond game, Project 007, and I forget who's helming it. But it looked really exciting. So yeah, I mean, obviously that's a franchise that's been around for. I'm trying to do a quick little thing and still talk, but I can't find. I don't remember who's. Like I said, I don't remember who's producing it or who's developing it. But you know, so that could be another future topic to come back to in another podcast whenever that new game releases. And see, okay, you know, how does it compare to this? How does it compare to that? You know, movies or game-wise, but...
Yeah. By the way, the Star Wars game I was referring to is the Rogue Squad.
Oh, okay, yep.
Yeah, I think I played the Racer game, too.
Pod Racer.
I seen Cubby playing it, and I was like, this looks familiar. Maybe I just played it on a friend's house or something.
You know.
So it's alright. It's good. I don't remember too much of it. What else was I gonna say? But yeah. I know. So yeah, I think it's hit and miss. I mean, most of the cases you just have to risk and reward. You know.
Yeah.
So there's another 007 game that I can't think of on. In the 10 Everything or Nothing.
Oh, yep.
I think so I watched it through RT Game. Everything or Nothing, the James Bond game that tried to be a new movie.
Yep.
So maybe you could like shed some light on that one. So were they trying to like make a movie first and then or trying to make a game before the movie?
That one, if I
remember, that was a good game, by the way. It was fun.
I actually never played it, but that was, if I remember right, I think they were just trying to do their own thing. You know, it wasn't based... If I remember, again, I don't remember for sure, but if I remember right, it wasn't based on any movie. It wasn't...
Is this a spin-off?
They were just trying to make kind of like the Star Wars idea, where hey, we're taking this well-established character that's usually based, you know, really heavily in movies, but we're trying to just make our own entity. Right. Yeah, I never did get around to playing this one. I'll have to check it out.
It's actually pretty good.
I'll have to.
It's on the GameCube.
I see.
Good luck trying to get it again.
Yeah, I will have to.
Maybe I'll lend it to you. I'll lend it to you if I still have it. Do you still have a GameCube?
I never had a GameCube.
What? This
no,
guy.
I never.
Who invites us co-work? These calls.
Really quick, funny story. The only time that I ever was really borrowing a GameCube is my friend let me borrow it to play Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. That is the only time that I ever. I never got one.
It's one of the
never had one.
I feel like this one of the game consoles you legally needed a. But what kind of gamer are you? Even I had it.
I mean, I was playing PlayStation 2, my Game Boy Color, my PC.
Right.
Far too much, but yeah, never owned a GameCube. Only ever played
That's
it.
why you haven't played
through other friends.
Good games like Resident Evil 4. That makes sense now. Just kidding. What was on the Wii and stuff? But anyways. Cool, fantastic. Real quick, I already know this answer. Metal Gear Solid. What movie would you like to see? Metal Gear Solid. Okay, cool. I would like to see I know they did announce Bioshock being a series somewhere. I assume a show.
Yeah, I can't remember if that one's going to be a movie or if it's going to be a television series.
We'll see. I think it's a television series, but I don't know. We'll see. I like to watch it.
What I want. Sorry, I'm looking at a couple different video games just to see if any of them jump out.
Metal Gear Solid, yeah. It's
coming out.
Just be patient.
That one I'm still leery on. You know, I'm very excited. I just feel like
it could be such a good fan-made one. It just seems like so simple that someone could do easily.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like I said, the fan-made stuff, you know, again, you gotta put it in perspective. Yes, it's not a gazillion-dollar budget. It's a person like you and me recording with their cell phones or something like, or I don't know if people have video cameras anymore, but video camera or what have you. So, you know, put it in perspectives. Like I said, the Resident Evil film, by the way, was by the makers something Bros. I had it. Bentley Bros. Resident Evil or Bentley Bros. On YouTube. But, like, those fan-made stuff, like, again, I put it in perspective of this is some people like you and me, just low budget. Hey, we only have $100 in the film, if that. And be silly with it. And, you know, they were still well watchable, still fun.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like Metal Gear Solid, for instance, I feel like that seems like, to your case, how do you be not annoying about getting alerts every like 10 seconds? Or it could be like a stealth, like kind of like a stealth film, I guess, and they could make it out of that.
Yeah.
I guess I could see that, and obviously every once in a while, like, oh, we're on alert, people saw us, like, or whatever.
And that's why
it's just hard.
That's why I do think, and again, we'll see how this goes. I hope the movie is great. There, you know, Oscar Isaac's in it, a fantastic actor. I don't remember if there's a few other people announced or not, but I do think that it would lend itself really well to a TV series. Because, like I said, you could do one episode. Well, hey, you know, he gets spotted. Well, now he's got to be in this gunfight for this episode, and kind of get out and figure that out. Because in reality, in the real world, if you're sneaking into a base and you alert somebody, they're gonna know you're there. They're not just gonna stop when you this arbitrary number just counts down to 0, and then they go, well, I guess he's gone now. So, how do you work that into a movie? How do you work that into a show? How do you work that into your story when, yes, you already are suspending the disbelief, and you already are, that sounds like a pirate, already are. How do you work that in when, like I said, the whole game, the original Metal Gear Solid game is only there's 18 hours until they're going to, I don't want to ruin anything for anyone, but the terrorists say they are giving 18 hours for their demands to be met. That's said in the first opening lines.
Sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, if you're going along and you're trying to stop somebody from going in, if they spot you, unless they kill you or capture you, they know you're there. So they're not just going to be moseying around, and it's no longer a stealth mission. You've gone hot. So yeah, no, I'm curious. I'm gonna watch it, of course, but I'm trying not to already put it on a pedestal that it hasn't earned. If the first one does really well and they're going to do a second one, I'll assess it then. I'll go, okay, well, the first one was really well, as long as they continue with that and they do well. But since there's nothing to compare it to, it's hard. It's hard for me not to get excited about it because I do love the series so much. But at the same time, it's hard for me to go, well, this is going to be the greatest movie ever made when I know nothing about it. We've got a director, we've got a Snake. That's kind of it. We don't know, with that, it could be really anything. It could be its own movie. It could be based on the first game. It could be based on the original Metal Gear game. It could be based on Metal Gear Solid 2. It could be anything. So until we hear more,
right. I mean, again, I wouldn't watch it personally, obviously, and I feel like, again, even BioShock, again, you're specifically you wouldn't watch it, the BioShock.
I'm intrigued by it, but yeah, it's not catering towards me.
Right, you have these small segments of fans. I mean, I feel like, everyone has a particular taste and the funding, which, I mean, maybe I don't know. Yeah, if it looks good, maybe I'll give it a shot. But I'd probably be like, I don't know any of these references. What is Snake? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyways, cool. Anyways, we'll start. We'll kind of cut this short. We have busy lives, so I apologize. We'll cut it short, and we want to make some plugs. This is Beskar Snake. He plays a lot of Metal Gear Solid. He's a great friend of mine. We won a PC, so he's a really best friend of mine now. He advanced to a best friend status. No, I'm just kidding. Check him out on Twitch. He plays a lot of cool stuff. On Twitter, Beskar Snake. And yeah, check him out. Donate to his extra life. I'm Scatterstone5. Check me out too. I'm pretty good looking. Not gonna lie. And hey, so if you're new to this, we're also on Spotify.
Yes.
If you're listening to us on Spotify, we're on YouTube. So on Spotify, look up Robot Attack, and on YouTube, it's Scatterstone5, and be great. It'd be fun. You could see our faces. You could listen to our faces on the go, and I'd appreciate your support. It really makes this exciting.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, however, have some games or movies that you want to see, please put it in the comments, or some films that we haven't mentioned that you want to talk about. We'll love to make reference to maybe next podcast, or we love to read comments.
Yes.
So
yes.
We also like to read. We also like to make references to it. So if there's a lot, we won't read, because obviously this podcast is popular. We get thousands of people, so commenting,
hundreds of millions.
Right. So
comments.
if we
it's
don't
impossible.
read you out,
please try again next month.
No, but generally we like reading them. We do read them. We will try to bring them up. So yeah, any comments or suggestions for future podcasts, or again, what movies would you like to see as video games, or vice versa?
Yes.
What movies would you like to see as video games, or what games would you like as video games? So I'd say games that you would like as movies. There we go. Look, it's been a long one. So yeah, check Beskar Snake. Appreciate support as always. See you next month. Hope it will be longer. I promise, maybe. But yeah, I know we went through that very quickly. So I would appreciate next month. We'll be back to an hour. So all right. Well, thanks Beskar Snake for tuning in and being here, putting up with me, and still giving you a hard time of winning that PC.
Hey.
I'll stop.
You listen to me talk about Metal Gear Solid all the time, even when it's not exactly on the forefront of the topic.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's good.
Check.
Look,
Look. I didn't even mention the Final Fantasy movies. Oh wow, now I did.
Look.
Oh darn it.
No, well, see, put another punch on the bingo card.
Haha, success.
I feel like everyone's gonna win bingo.
Victory.
Talk about Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil, BioShock, and Janice Fantasy. All right, so yeah, thanks. I will say I'm so excited for next year of video games with that movie I mentioned, the game I mentioned. Oh my god, I'm doing it again. The game I mentioned, and Resident Evil. It's gonna be. I'm ready. Right. I said that this year. Next year.
We're still recovering. Things are still getting pushed back. So,
yeah.
So in due time, things happen. The world is still just kind of gaining speed again. So we'll get there.
Fair enough. I've been Scout75. This has been Beskar Snake, and I'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.